I often get asked for advice and tips about traveling to Japan, and the first thing I always say is, do not come here in the summer. Every other season is great. Springtime has cherry blossoms and perfect for little outdoor picnics. Autumn is nice and breezy and the leaves are vibrant. The winter is perfect for enjoying hot springs and piping hot oden from the local konbini. And the summer gives you bugs and a perpetual feeling of swamp ass everywhere you go because of how offensively humid it is outside. We all know summer is easily the worst season in general, but for some reason I find it's especially hellish in Japan. So these are my 3 biggest complaints about the season. And I guess I should mention this disclaimer because I already know some contrarian is out there itching to type something like, typical ungrateful fear-mongering gaijin looking for something to complain about. You clearly don't know how to make the most out of Japanese summers. I visited in the summer of 2019 and had the most splendid time. It's really not that bad if you know what you're doing. And if that's you, good for you! I don't do very well with heat and humidity. These are, of course, grievances based on my own subjective opinions and experiences. My word is not gospel. I'm just here to share my silly little stories with my silly little drawings. And speaking of silly little drawings, I just came back from a multi-day art trip in Osaka with a bunch of other artists. And during this trip, I decided I want to get better at drawing on the go, especially since I travel a lot more around this time. And luckily, the sponsor of today's video, Skillshare, can help me with that. Skillshare is the largest online learning community for creatives with thousands of classes led by industry experts across film, illustration, design, freelance, and productivity, which are all categories I'm at least a little familiar with. Skillshare recently announced some improvements for a new and improved class system, which includes topics in creative careers and creative inspiration, and the ability to find classes by software and material. I wanted to improve my understanding of how to more comfortably use Procreate on my iPad, and for that I turned to Brooke Glaser's Intro to Procreate, Illustrating on the iPad, where she gives you all the tips and tools you need to know, all organized and titled in 23 easy lessons that you can go through at your own pace. If you're a fellow creative looking to do some summer learning or pick up a few helpful tips, then lucky for you, the first 500 people to use my link in the description will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Take your skills and hobbies to the next level, and thank you again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Number 1, the constant threat of heat stroke. Heat stroke warnings are something I've learned to be more mindful of, especially as someone who mostly gets around by walking and using public transportation. During the summers now, I'll always be equipped with a UV umbrella, a water bottle, and some form of electrolytes when I walk around. But last year, when I was less wise, one day, I thought it would be a great idea to bike home from my Japanese class instead of taking the subway. The trip wasn't that far, and I figured it would be a good mini workout. And at first, it wasn't so bad. I was in my cute little summer outfit, hot breeze running through my hair, with the sun beating down on me. And wow, I don't remember the way back having this many hills. Why is pedaling so difficult today? And then suddenly, my vision started blurring and I started feeling really dizzy. And as my vision started getting hazier, the only thing I could think about was how embarrassing it would be if I passed out right here in the middle of the sidewalk. So in a panic, I threw my bike to the ground and ran to the nearest grocery store. And then spent the next 10 minutes dry heaving in the freezer section. Luckily, didn't pass out, but ever since then, I've avoided biking anywhere during the summer. I still have no idea if I narrowly escaped heat stroke or if I was just dehydrated and panicking, but I'm not taking any chances. Number 2, the constant sweating. The humidity here gets so nasty. If you're the type to sweat easily, you can expect to be perpetually drenched here in the summertime. And I have absolutely no idea how everyone manages to wear long sleeves in the summer. As a certified California girl, I have a lot of outfits specifically for a hot summer day, but I unfortunately don't feel super comfortable wearing them here. I love a cute little mini skirt or spaghetti strap romper or open back dress, but I don't really wear them while I'm in Japan. And speaking from the perspective of someone who lives in Tokyo, realistically, you can wear whatever you want, right? Like the fashion police isn't going to stop you and ticket you for showing too much clavicle. And at the end of the day, no one's going to give you shit for it. But my goal in my everyday life is to blend in and not direct too much attention to myself. So nowadays, I just suck it up and wear the extra layer underneath that summer dress, even if it makes my back extra sweaty. Also, I don't know about you guys, but I get so much more irritated in hot and humid weather. Everything pisses me off when it feels like I'm covered in a layer of grime and sweat. And this is a non-issue, but it's hard to feel cute when the humidity is ruining your hair and makeup. And just recently, I randomly developed rosacea, which can flare up from the sun in high temperatures and stress. So, thanks, body. You're really elevating my summer experience. Number 3, typhoon season. When you're not being oven broiled by the heat of the sun, you're being assaulted by the rainy typhoon season. And normally, I don't mind the rain too much, but if you're not careful, typhoon season can really mess up whatever plans you had on your itinerary for the day. Example, so earlier this month, Jacob and Jaden were in town for a magical Mirai, and we made plans to go to Nagoya to catch the last day of the Sailor Moon exhibit. And a few months prior, I'd gotten us 4 premium passes to Ghibli Park. So this was the plan. Take a morning train to Nagoya, check out the Sailor Moon exhibit as soon as it opens, have fun at Ghibli Park until closing, and then head to Osaka. I was so excited to show them an unforgettable time. When we met up at the station, we discovered that the Shinkansen line we were going to take was suspended for the day because of the typhoon, and we were informed that we'd have to take a separate detour train and then transfer if we wanted to go to Nagoya. Oh, how long is the first train? 3 hours. Also, since it's all booked, it'll be standing room only. Is that okay? I guess so. In addition to that, your transfer train currently has no seats available, so you'll be on standby, which means you might not be able to ride, so I can't guarantee that you'll even make it to Nagoya today. Oh, wow. Okay. So a bullet train that would have normally taken just an hour and a half was now going to take around 4 or 6 hours, and we couldn't risk the possibility of getting stranded at our transfer station. So with the available routes and timing, we quickly decided that our best bet was to try and grab a taxi from our transfer station so we'd have a chance to make it on time to one of our scheduled activities, because we realized the Sailor Moon exhibit closes an hour early today, being that it was the last day. So we'd have to sacrifice Ghibli Park and try our best to go to the Sailor Moon exhibit. And with the current timing, we'd have a chance to make it with at least an hour or 2 to spare. And as soon as we were done, we could take a 50-minute bullet train to Shinosaka to check into our hotel. Okay, are you following? Did I mention that my rosacea can get triggered by stress? Even though realistically, I don't think there's anything I could have really done about the typhoon, I still felt really bad and like I was at fault because I'd never experienced this kind of bad luck with the Shinkansen before. But Jacob and Jaden were really nice about it. And luckily, we made it to the Sailor Moon Museum on time with just an hour to spare, and the rest of the trip to Shinosaka went fine. But the typhoon really messed up our plans for the day and made it 10 times more exhausting. So, what did we learn? Oh, I know! The moral of the story is, if you're traveling to Japan in the summer, remember to stay hydrated, carry a UV umbrella, and wear breezy and comfortable clothing, and keep your schedule flexible for unexpected weather changes. Wrong! The moral of the story is, pick a different season if you can help it. All jokes aside, if you still want to plan your trip for the summer, don't let me stop you from having a good time. It's not impossible to have a fun and fulfilling trip during the summertime. Just remember to be prepared. I'm just sharing my own thoughts as someone who has trouble with the heat and humidity, both physically and mentally. And emotionally.